Eure Bilder und damit Ihnen eins, nämlich einen wunderschönen guten Morgen und das Ganze live in und aus der Motorsport-Arena in Oschersleben. Schönen guten Morgen, es meldet sich der Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland zum offiziellen Saisonbeginn 2018 und neu in diesem Jahr bei nahezu allen Veranstaltungen gemeinsam mit den Kollegen des ADAC GT Masters. Schönen Dank für die uns gewährte Gastfreundschaft fürs 29. Dienstjahr des Porsche Carrera Cups, des schnellsten Markenpokals, den wir in Deutschland haben. Mein Name ist Burkhard Bechtel und ich bin Ihr Kommentator an der Strecke und in den aufgeschalteten Livestreams gemeinsam mit meinem englischsprachigen Kollegen Dave Richardson werden wir Sie auf allen möglichen und unmöglichen Kanälen informieren über die Websites von Porsche und dem Carrera Cup, über Facebook, YouTube und eben auch übers NTV vom ADAC. Rund um diese 29 Autos, 480 PS stark, also da zerren mal gepflegte 15.000 PS an der Kette hier an diesem Wochenende. Fürs halbe Stündchen der Wahrheit, das sportrechtlich gerne als Qualifying oder als die Zeitenjagd bezeichnet wird, die Ermittlung der besten Startplätze für die Saisonläufe 1 und 2 zur Meisterschaft des Jahres 2018. International besetzt, obwohl es ein nationales deutsches Championat ist, mit Akteuren, die 10 Nationen und 2 Kontinente repräsentieren, nämlich rund um Europa und rund um die Vereinigten Staaten und die vor allen Dingen eins auch repräsentieren, nämlich die Youngster des internationalen Sportwagen-Rennsports. Denn genau so muss man diesen Porsche Carrera Cup verstehen. Die Amerikaner würden sagen, es ist die Elementary School des Motorsports oder die Grundschule des Motorsports. Hier bekommst du deine Grundausbildung, hier bekommst du die höheren Weihen, um dann entsprechend aus- und vorgebildet im nächsten Jahr vielleicht.
So we are about 30 minutes away from getting qualifying underway proper here. The 30-minute session that sets the grid for races 1 and race 2. Reminder that second fastest lap time sets the grid for race 1, and the fastest lap time sets the grid for race 2. So all the cars lined up in the pit lane awaiting the green light that will release them out onto the track. Damp track then, the weather conditions today, as I look out of the commentary booth window here at Oschersleben, it really is overcast and pretty miserable. If I'm honest with you, it should brighten up. All the weather forecasts that I looked at, every single one is different for this particular weekend. But at the moment it is overcast, but the track is still damp following rain showers overnight and very early this morning. It's certainly not raining now, and we've just had the GT Masters cars out for their qualifying session, so they will have got rid of some of the dampness on the track, but not all by any means. And this Porsche Carrera Cup qualifying session is being deemed a wet session, so suspect probably with 30 minutes running that the track will begin to dry out towards the end of the qualifying session, and probably we'll see a dry line appearing long before then, but we can only tell that once we get the cars out onto the track, which is but a minute away now. The voice you can hear around the circuit is that of Burkhard Bechtel, renowned Porsche expert, and actually delivers an awful lot for the Carrera Cup, and is on comms duties at the circuit here. So you can see there the mix of wet weather tyres and dry weather tyres. Wet confirmed then, as you can see from the marshal holding that wet sign up at the end of the pit lane before we get the cars away for their qualifying session.
sein Training weder unterbrechen noch abbrechen würde. Sagt halt einfach, Freunde, kommt nicht.
Well, 35 minutes then are on the clock. It's 35 minutes rather than 30 minutes for qualifying in the Carrera Cup Deutschland then. As I said, setting the grid for the 2 races to come, the opening 2 races of the season this year that takes the cars to Red Bull Ring, to Nürburgring twice, to Zandvoort, to Sachsenring, and then to the grand finale at Hockenheim right at the end of the season. Carlos Rivas, you can just see going out there. Also Chris Wright, there's Tom Lautenschlager. And the cars all making their way out onto the track now to get this qualifying session underway. Here at Oschersleben, as I mentioned, some 3.696 kilometers. 7 left-handers, 7 right-handers. Larry ten Voorde, who won the Rookie Championship last year. One of a number of the Project One cars that make their way out onto the track. Expecting big things of Larry ten Voorde. I think he was second fastest during the free practice sessions across both of them. And I was having a conversation with him just a couple of weeks ago, and of course the ambition and hopes and aspirations are for the full Drivers' Championship this year. And this weekend will give us an indication of just what he and all the other drivers in the Carrera Cup can do. Rookie Championship, AM Championship and full Championship as well. So there are 7 race weekends, as I mentioned. Mix of Germany and the Netherlands. Some 11 drivers that will take part in the Rookie Championship that I was talking about. So we have 6 race weekends for the ADAC GT Masters and 1 race weekend with the Old Timer Grand Prix, which brings us that double weekend, if you like, in Nürburgring, where it's 2 weekends back-to-back, where the drivers will be competing at the Nürburgring. So the car is the 911 GT3 Cup car, model 991, Generation 2, for the 2nd year now in Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. So a few drivers already under investigation for crossing the white line at the pit exit. Those under investigation, Tom Lautenschlager, that we saw actually making his way out of the pit lane. Also Andreas Skabanski, the GA Racing by Kurt Eck car, being investigated. There we can see the number 70 machine making its way out onto track. And there you can see very much a dry line, in fairness, has already been created by the ADAC GT Masters that were out there just a few moments ago during their qualifying. There, the number 18 car of Michael Ducasada, the Team Deutsche Post by Project One driver, one of the rookies that's taking part in the championship this year. So at the moment, the fastest is Henrik Skog in car number 20, who has delivered a 1:40.064, which is faster than anyone at the moment, but that's just been beaten by Tom Lautenschlager, who goes P1 with a 1:38.844, but then we get our first sub 1:38, in fact sub 1:37 time, a 1:36.993. Comes from the number 3 car of Lucas Ertel, the race union driver, who is a rookie. And one car, as you can see, has not made the hotel turn and has ended up, there you can see the lock-up, too much speed being carried. And straight through and into the gravel chap. That the Chris Wright car of MSG HRT Motorsport. So there you can see the all 4 wheels locked. And the car ends up in the gravel trap. So at the moment then, It is the number 3 car of Lucas Ertl that is top of the timing chart with a 1:36.993. Next closest is Tom Lautenschlager, a 1:38.844 for the number 98 car, but that's just been bettered actually by the number 68 car of Force Racing, Robert Lucas, who has just gone second fastest. Tony Wolff then goes to the top of the chart now with a 1:31.83. All the others, of course, all out laps. We're into the hot laps now. So 1:30.183, Carlos Rivas with a 1:30.685. Tim Zimmerman, a 1:39.54, the top 3 at the moment. 30 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. Tony Wolff then, who is right at the top of the charts at the moment, but with 29 minutes left to run in this qualifying session for the Porsche Carrera Cup. Henrik Skoog then is car number 20. Henrik Skoog is currently 4th fastest with a 1:31.021. 1:31.021 for Henrik Skoog. But there, we saw the number 7 car of Tony Wolff, the fastest thus far. There is Henrik Skoog. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 then, Wolff, Rivera, Zimmerman and Skoog. The top 4 at the moment, but now Larry ten Voorde goes fastest with a 1:30.158, taking 2 100ths out of the previous best time of Tony Wolff. So Larry ten Voorde won the Rookie Championship last year and is, well, showing everyone how determined he is for this season. But look at this, 2 bests of everyone from Henrik Skoog. This is going to be a very fast lap indeed as he crosses the line with a 1:28.03093. So Tony Wolff then still the fastest, 1:28.037. Larry ten Voorde then bouncing across the curbs. Purple sector 1, as you can see. Purple sector means faster than anyone. Green sector means PB. There's traffic out there on track as well, and this will compromise Larry ten Voorde's lap. As you can see, he's gone green in sector 2. And now manages to weave his way through the traffic, but this will have compromised that lap for Larry ten Voorde. No question about that. Just the sheer number of cars out there on track means it's inevitable that you're going to pick up traffic. And that means it's inevitable that your lap is going to be slowed. But about to break the timing beam now. It's a 1:28.473 for Larry ten Voorde, which is the 4th fastest time overall. Can't help but feel there was probably better in there from Larry ten Voorde. But as I say, the traffic compromised that. This is looking like a very quick lap from Robert Lucas, the Porsche driver then, as he heads to break the timing beam now. It's a 1:27.430. It's the first sub 1:28 time, and it comes from Robert Lucas then in the number 68 car for Force Racing. So a great lap from Robert Lucas. We must also mention Igor Valilko for Race Union, who is 2nd fastest, and here in replay is another lockup going into that turn number 1, and that lockup was from the Kim Andre Hauschild MSG HRT Motorsport Porsche. Should be able to recover from the gravel there without too much difficulty at all. So 26 remain in terms of minutes, and we are watching the number 93 car of Larry ten Voorde then. So this, the qualifying session that sets the grid for races 1 and 2. Larry ten Voorde, quicker than anyone through sector 1. PB through sector 2. What can he deliver at the conclusion of the lap? He rounds the final turn and heads towards the timing line now to break the beam. Where can Larry ten Voorde go from P4? He goes to P1 with a 1:27.308, taking a 10th out of Robert Lucas's time. So well done, Larry ten Voorde, who's currently top of the times then. As you can see on the left-hand side, it's ten Voorde, Lucas, and then the rest of the order, all the way down to P16 at the moment. So Larry ten Voorde is our new fastest driver on track currently. Here is a driver that you would expect fast times from, Mikael Ammermuller, multi-race winner. Warming those tyres up, as you can see, Mikael Ammermuller then into yet another season in the Carrera Cup Deutschland for the BWT Lechner racing team. Larry ten Voorde turns up the wick still further and goes just a bit faster in Sector 1. As you can see, gone purple in Sector 1 for Larry ten Voorde. Sector 2 struggles to be faster than anyone, but as you can see, Larry ten Voorde now up against some traffic and a car ahead of him. Around the final turn, the Zeppelin turn, which is turn number 14 here to Oschersleben, and ten Voorde crosses the timing line with a 1:26.926. 1:26.926, so the time's really tumbling down now. Second fastest is the number 16 car of Gustav Malja. Beg your pardon, that's not Gustav Malja who is driving the number 16 car. Henrik Skog now goes second fastest. So Henrik Skog with a 1:26.965. And this is the number 20 car of Henrik Skog that we were talking about just a few moments ago. And Larry ten Voorde then. This is not going to be a blistering lap, potentially, from Larry ten Voorde. Worked the car very, very hard, and the results of that, of course, being shown because ten Voorde already that 1:27 time, nothing like the there is Gustav Malja then. And out is the number 7 car of Tony Wolff. You may recall Tony Wolff was right at the top of the charts earlier on. And there, just on the exit there of the chicane, that spins the number 7 car around. So the car collection motorsport machine of Tony Wolff out and into the gravel. And I'm not sure that's going to be, if he can, depends how dug in that car is. Also going off was Gustav Malja in the number 16 car. Well, Tony Wolff did manage to get the car back out of the gravel, but in so doing has dragged a load of gravel onto the track, which is far from desirable. Michael Ammermuller. Now, in the charts at the moment, he's not set a particularly fast lap, but as you can see, he's done personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Well, it would be personal best because it's the first time to show from Michael Ammermuller, who is 15th fastest. We will expect more to come from Michael Ammermuller, that's for sure. So at the moment it's ten Voorde, then it's Skog, then it's car number 16, which is Gustav Malja. So clock back on Michael Ammermuller again. 31.484 through Sector 1. So the new BWT livery for those Lechner racing cars then. Now, the reason, in case you're wondering why, on the left-hand side of your screen, where we look at the third fastest, and I've been saying it's Gustav Malja, it's actually because the abbreviation on the timing screen is using his full name, which is Gustav Michael Koch Malja, hence the KOC. So that's the reason behind that, in case you were wondering. I'm sure you weren't, but just thought I would give you that information. So Michael Ammermuller then, 1:27.092 gives him fourth fastest. So it's Larry Ten Voorde, Henrik Skog, then it's Gustav Malja, then it's Mikael Ammermuller, then it's Robert Lucas. And P6 at the moment is the number 37 car of Igor Valilko, the race union rookie driver. 20 minutes left. Dylan Pereira then. And there is Stefan Raykopf. Stefan Raykopf was in the Carrera Cup last year, and off goes the Thomas Preining car. So Thomas Preining then exploring the limits of adhesion around that turn and explored a little bit too far. Thankfully, he's able to recover from there, but Thomas Preining then have to scrub the mud off the tyres now. And here in replay from another camera angle is Thomas Preining going for that grass cutting move. There, car's in. The Gustav Malja car. And there, the number 98 machine of Tom Lautenschlager. You may recall right at the very, very start of the session, Tom was right at the top of the timing screens. Regrettably, that is not the case now, but is back out again. Dylan Pereira goes P2 then with that 1:26.814. So some 3/10 of the quickest time, which has been set whilst we were not watching him, by Mikael Ammermuller, a 1:26.559. There is Mikael Ammermuller. I said there was more to come from him, and sure enough, the BWT Lechner Racing driver has delivered in Quali, 1:26.559. And next best is Dylan Pereira, 1:26.814 for the number 28 car. The Lechner, so we've got two Lechner drivers then, P1 and P2. And Mikael Ammermuller then sets a PB through Sector 1, a 30.356 through Sector 2. Through the chicane goes Mikael Ammermuller then. Couple of turns to do before the timing line awaits. This is the second of those two turns. The Zeppelin turn, Ammermuller through it now then, heading to break the timing beam. And Mikael Ammermuller then doesn't improve. He was 3/10 down on what he'd done previously. Incidentally, as you can see, cancellation of relevant lap time for car number 10. That car number 10 is Thomas Preining, who, there is the very car who you will recall we saw in the grass just a few moments ago. So Thomas Preining then with new tyres going on will be back out again shortly. We are just under half distance left for the, you can see the damage as Hans Bernd Camps from the Project 1 team looks on, just walks across there as you can see. And there, another hairy moment for Tom Lautenschlager, who shortcutted the turn there. Managed to go through the elements of gravel, grass, curbs, but did get it back out onto the tarmac. But again, what this does, it does compromise those cars that follow, because that gravel is dragged out back onto the track, which is certainly the last thing you want when you're going into that hotel turn. So there, the Project 1 pit wall, and in comes the number 27 car of Stefan Raykopf. Beg your pardon, that's the car of Jean-Baptiste Simonauer. Stefan Raykopf, of course, in the number 33 car. So then, before the second part of this qualifying session gets underway, a reminder to you that the second fastest lap times set the grid for race 1. It's the fastest lap times that set the grid for race 2. So Mikael Ammermuller at the moment is top. Just saw Marius Naken into his second year of the Carrera Cup. There, the classification then. Ammermuller, Pereira, Ten Voorde, Skog, Malja, and Lucas, the top 6. Jean Schmidt-Stade then making his way towards the end of the pit lane now, as you can see. You can see the Stefan Raykopf car now that I mentioned just a few moments ago. the Cito Pretiosa car. Marius Nacken then P7, Valilko is P8, then it's Zimmerman, Wolf, Simonau, and Van Parijs is P12. And this then is Michael Ammermuller, super slow-mo of the very, very experienced Porsche Carrera Cup and Super Cup racer. Michael Ammermuller. If you need a driver in the team that's going to deliver and deliver consistently, Michael Ammermuller, former single-seater racer, is the man. So 14 minutes remaining in this qualifying session for the Porsche Carrera Cup. So repairs having been done to the Thomas Preining car. As we saw that car through the grass. Front splitter, which is one of the vulnerable elements of the front of these cars, should you be anywhere other than on the tarmac, was the bit that gave way, but that has been replaced. And Preining will be back on his way out. Michael de Quesada then, making his way down the pit lane. Also Jacob Eidson in car number 24, another one of the Team Project One drivers, very much a rookie, is Jacob. And there is Gustav Malia, also making his way down the pit lane, and so too is Thomas Preining. So just under 13 minutes remaining. Incidentally, car number 99, which is the MSG HRT Motorsport driver, Chris Wright, the AM driver, is under investigation for speeding in the pit lane. Be looked at by race control in due course. So Ammermuller top, then it's Pereira, then it's Ten Voorde, then it is Henrik Skoog. Track limits flag to car number 97. The Kim Andre Hauschild car. There, an interesting angle into the pit lane for Tom Lautenschlager, or rather into the pit box for Tom Lautenschlager in car number 98. Currently P25 in the order. Making his way out into the fast lane of the pit lane now. Igor Valilko then, the race union driver. Tom Lautenschlager also on his way, and so too is Henrik Skoog as we get the final part of qualifying underway. In replay then, this is the Michael Ammermuller car number 11 for the BWT Lechner Racing Concern. Super slow-mo shot of Michael Ammermuller then. Mired in a bit of traffic now, it has to be said, and he's doing his slowing and allowing everyone to go through to buy himself some air ahead and some space ahead. Weaving from side to side behind is the Glenn Van Parijs car. So when it comes to the qualifying session, critical to try and find the track space so that you've got an open track ahead of you. So all those tyres being warmed by the vigorous weaving on track. And the two grids to be set from this qualifying session for Carrera Cup. I'm very pleased you've joined us for the Carrera Cup qualifying as Michael Ammermuller turns the wick up now. He is currently the fastest with a 1:26.559, which is a full 2/10 quicker than the second fastest time, which came from Dylan Pereira, the Lechner Racing driver. So the ticker on the bottom of the screen then confirming who is where. And then we'll bring you a roundup on the left-hand side of the screen in due course as well. So, Ammermuller, Carrera, Larry ten Voorde, Henrik Skoog, the top four. And there you can see drivers all just trying to create that space that they need ahead of them by allowing other cars to go through. I mentioned that Chris Wright is under investigation for speeding. You can see Mikael Ammermuller pulling right over to the side of the track then to let cars go past. The Glenn Van Paris car following hot in the heels of Mikael Ammermuller. As we look at now Thomas Preining. So the BWT Lechner racing driver. Good to watch these cars through this qualifying session. Another car under investigation is Kim Andre Housechild for exploring track limits where he shouldn't. Distracted by the timing screen just for a moment. A number of messages coming up there. Oh, and around goes another car, but only on the tarmac, which means easily recoverable for Kim Andre Housechild. And that's why outbraked going into turn number 1 to the safety of the runoff area. So, car number 66 then is driven by Andreas Skapansky, QA racing by Kurt Eck, one of the AM drivers in the Carrera Cup. You can see drivers holding back there, and in particular Thomas Preining holding back to find that clear track ahead. Preining being followed there by the car of Jean-Baptiste Simonauer. Ammermuller still fastest. In fact, the top 4 have not changed. Just looking out of the... I'll have to open the door of the comm studio in a moment just to ascertain what the weather conditions are. I don't think there's any drizzle coming down. I'm pretty sure it has remained dry. We've got just under 10 minutes of this qualifying session left to run, and then the grid will be set for the 2 Carrera Cup races here at Oschersleben this weekend. Mikael Ammermuller still the fastest then. Who's that gone off there in the grass? It's Chris Wright. Not for the first time, to be fair. So Ammermuller then 126.559. Ammermuller once again on his way now for the final 6 minutes of this Porsche Carrera Cup qualifying session. The 2 races to come. The races are 30 minutes in duration, both races. Previously, there was a sort of a sprint race and then a longer race over the course of the 2 races. It was 25 minutes and 35 minutes across the 2 races in previous seasons. That now is not the case. It is race duration of 30 minutes, both exactly the same now. So now, having beaten Mikael Ammermuller's time at 126.416, has come from the number 68 car of Robert Lucas. Larry ten Voorde has also gone quicker than Ammermuller, but here comes Ammermuller now. So Ammermuller stays 3rd fastest at the moment. It's Lucas, then it's ten Voorde, then it's Ammermuller. Pereira is P4, Henrik Skoog P5, Jacob Eidson then is P6, and then it's Gustav Malja, P7, Marius Nacken, P8. Then P9 is the number 15 car of Glenn Van Paris. And in 10th place at the moment is Tony Wolff in the number 7 car. So Robert Lucas, the now new fastest car out there. Here comes Larry ten Voorde then, quicker than anyone through Sector 1. A shabby Sector 2 by comparison to what we know he's able to deliver. He's got the Thomas Preining car ahead of him, but thankfully far enough ahead that this shouldn't compromise Larry ten Voorde's final sector. So Larry ten Voorde heads towards the timing beam now. He's second fastest going into this lap. A 1:26.538 becomes a 1:26.606. So Larry ten Voorde did not improve, but still maintains his P2 position. Here comes Mikael Ammermuller then to fight back. Mikael Ammermuller gone from P1 to a P3. Cancellation of lap time for Stefan Oschmann, and also a cancellation of lap time for Carlos Rivas, as Ammermuller now goes back to the top of the chart with a 1:26.200, having taken a full 2/10 out of the Robert Lucas time. Mikael Ammermuller then with a very, very good job, but then you can see how close Larry ten Voorde is getting to Robert Ammermuller's teammate Thomas Preining. So Preining with a lock up there, runs wide, and that's the reason. Oh no, this is a replay of earlier when Thomas Preining was out on the grass. Actually, looking at the tracks, I think that might be the second time that Preining has been there. So 2 times round for Thomas Preining then on the grass, just pushing so hard. But here comes Thomas Preining now. Larry ten Voorde has got ahead of him. So now the order is Ammermuller, Lucas, ten Voorde. Here comes Thomas Preining. What can he deliver? Thomas Preining goes across the timing line, and it's P16 for Thomas Preining. We know that there's better in there, but of course we did see him go off the track. So only 2.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session to set the grid for the 2 races across this weekend, the first weekend of the Carrera Cup Championship for 2018. Ammermuller then with a 1:26.200. His last lap was a couple of tenths slower than that, 1:26.426, but matters naught because Ammermuller's still at the top of the chart. Ooh, wayward moment there, but I was going to say well held in the initial part of that having gone so wrong. And there we can see it from a different angle. Lucas Oertel then. I was going to say, or I did say, well held by the race union driver through the first part of the exit, and then not so well held on the second part, carrying so much speed. Just kept it out of the barriers, though. So Ammermuller, Lucas ten Voorde, Pereira. Then Michael de Quesada is P4 now. Henrik Skog is P5. There is the number 11 car of Mikael Ammermuller. Glenn Van Paris, I think, is the car right behind. Yes, sure enough it is. Do well to sit in the stream of the Mikael Ammermuller car and try and get just a small toe off of that, because Ammermuller has already proved, not that proof was needed really, of just how quick he is and how quick he can be. Into the final minute then. Nothing like a time from Mikael Ammermuller, but he crosses the timing line now and will potentially go for one last, although that could be compromised by the Andreas Skapansky car off, and Skapansky not going to be able to recover from there. The QA Racing by Kurt Eck driver is off. Now, dependent upon where that is on the track, there we can see. And that is around the Hasserode turn number 3. That may bring this session to a few seconds earlier than expected close. There's Gustav Malja on a hot lap, rounding the final turn now. Personal best through Sector 1, not quite so brilliant through Sector 2, but Gustav Malja crosses the timing line now and goes 8th fastest. with a 1:27.061. And that's it. The checkered flag is out and the qualifying session is done and dusted. Though do bear in mind that any driver that's out there on a hot lap now can complete that lap, and that time will count. But and there you can see at the close of the qualifying session, the Szczepanski car in the gravel and going to have to be recovered for there, which means some work to do for the QA Racing Biker Eck team. We'll see some debris just to the front of the car, whether it's off of this particular car or a previous one, we know not. But there we have it then. Final cars crossing the timing line now. We're not expecting the order to be changed. So we have Ammermuller, Lucas, then it's Pereira, Ten Voorde, De Quesada, Henrik Skoog, the top six. Cars making their way into the pit lane now and into Parc Fermé. And there the spinning wheels of the number 66 Andreas Szczepanski car, which won't be going anywhere from there without the aid of being recovered. So there we have it, qualifying for the Carrera Cup. 2 races done and dusted. First of those 2 races to come a little later today here at the Oschersleben circuit, where weather conditions hopefully will continue to improve. At the moment there is still very overcast conditions, but I don't think that we're going to be threatened with any rain. And the backdrop, as you can see, of the Oschersleben circuit proving just how overcast it is at the moment. But hopefully the sun might be able to break out through that cloud and give us some hope. There, confirmation then from qualifying. Ammermuller quickest, then it's Lucas, then it's Pereira, Larry Ten Voorde, Michael De Quesada, Henrik Skoog, Jacob Eidsen, then it's Gustav Malja. So Project 1 then having a good time in qualifying. Then it's Valico, Zimmerman, Marius Nacken, Glenn Van Paris, Richard Heistand, Tony Wolff, Thomas Preining, and Jorn Schmidt started rounding out the top 16 places. And then it was Jean-Baptiste Simonau, Lucas Oertel, Carlos Rivas, Kim-Andre Hauschild, Stefan Rakoff, Soren Spring, Matthias Jeserich, and Chris Wright, who had 1 or 2 offs as well during the course of that session. Then it was Wagner, Lautenschlager, Stefan Oschmann, Andreas Szczepanski we saw in the gravel, and Matthias Weyland. That's it, qualifying done and dusted. Make sure you join us for the races over the course of the weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now.
Die Autos stehen jetzt unten im Park Fermé. Starten Sie ein, wenn Sie Lust und Laune haben. Kommen Sie bei uns vorbei im Fahrerlager und Sie schauen noch ein paar Highlights. Viel Spaß und Freude. Bis später.